For much more on this one, let's go ahead and welcome in Debbie Antonelli, who is on the call for this one. Debbie, what an incredible game. This one came down to the wire. What did you see from that final minute and how it played out?
Well, first of all, Jordan, what an incredible environment in here. 14 lead changes, 15 ties. That tells you how close this game was. But I thought New York in the fourth quarter, after trailing by double digits in the third, really showed their championship caliber mentality. They'd faced some adversity, and then they went right back to their MVP candidates. Jonquel Jones made a couple of threes. Breanna Stewart made some plays in the paint. And then Sabrina Ionescu getting downhill late. I thought that was the difference in the game. New York was much more aggressive in the fourth quarter.
You mentioned that championship pedigree and the resilience that they showed after being down 12 points in the second half. You know, obviously the New York Liberty coming off a championship season, looking to add to that ring collection yet again this season. It's early, Debbie, but how capable is Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu and company to actually going back-to-back this season?
Oh, I don't think there's any question they have that on their mind. I mean, when you were talking to Sandy Brondello and she's talking already about playoffs in October, I think that's where the culture is. I think that's why this team, with the balance they have, with the versatility that they have, with already having taken the pressure off by finally winning a title last year, I think it sets them up. Plus with the new pieces that they've added, including Natasha Cloud, who was absolutely fantastic down the stretch. A lot of what Natasha Cloud may not always show up in the stat sheet because her energy and her defensive effort, her ability to defend, and certainly her plays late on Caitlin Clark were a big difference in the game.
Most definitely. You know, despite the Liberty win, we got to give a lot of credit to Indiana here. Aaliyah Boston, my gosh, she was on fire early in the first half alone, had 17 points, 5 rebounds. Caitlin Clark, kind of an up and down game, a lot of turnovers on her stat line. I think it's important to remember that this is still a new Fever team, a new look Fever team. We got a lot of new faces. How soon do you think it'll be before we get to see them really gel from the start of tip-off?
You know what, Jordan, I see them getting better every time they step on the floor, and that's not a cop-out. They have some new pieces that they need to work in. It's going to take some time. I always say Caitlin sees all 9 players, but you also have to know on your team who can catch what passes, who needs the ball where, when do they need it. I call it the 3 W's, and she answers it. And you can see there's some timing, maybe some issues on screening or angles that need to be cleaned up. That's going to be taken care of, but certainly the energy they get off the bench. I thought it was a good coaching move by Stephanie White to put DeWanna Bonner on the bench to start the game and to start Lexi Hull in her place. I think this is going to take a little time, but it's not going to take long. You don't have time in this league to take much time, but certainly they have enough pieces, and I think Sophie Cunningham is really going to assert herself as time goes on as well.
Good to know you're already seeing that kind of develop. Debbie Antonelli joining us here live on CBS Sports HQ as the Liberty now improved to 3-0 on the season, taking down Caitlin Clark and company. 90-88 is your final score against the Indiana Fever. You know, if Indiana really wants to compete, be a contender this year, they are going to have to get past this Liberty team. As you take a look at the current odds, they are at the top of the board here to go back-to-back at plus 210. We'll have much more on this on the other side. Stay with us. Didn't come easy, but they got it done as the New York Liberty now improved to 3-0 on the season. For much more from Indy, let's go ahead and welcome in Chris Williamson and Erica Ayala, who had a front row seat to this game. My gosh, very jealous sitting here in our studio after watching that one come down to the wire. Erica, let's start with what your thoughts were in that final minute, really, and the no call there on Natasha Cloud.
I thought it was just great defensive play from Natasha Cloud. You saw that she sprayed out her arms because she didn't want to get the contact foul. And then in doing so, she happened to get that one arm under and pop the ball out. That's exactly what the New York Liberty needed in that moment.
They needed that, and she has been everything and more for this team, right? Her first year with the Liberty, you see the chemistry, right? I think Unrivaled played a part. She played with Sabrina Ionescu. We know Breanna Stewart is one of the co-founders. But it's her leadership, her defensive-minded skill skills that allow this team to come back when they are in down stretches. And also, she's a threat from three-point land, right? That's not something that teams usually respect her, but she made them pay in this one. And again, it's just her energy, the way she's able to facilitate, defend 1 through 4 when it comes to her opponents. And Natasha Cloud has really put a stamp on the New York Liberty, and it's going to be special to see what more they do.
Yeah, was able to somewhat contain Caitlin Clark, who kind of had an up and down game when it comes to her stat line. 10 turnovers on the day. You know, the Liberty were dominant right off the bat early on, but all of a sudden, Chris, they found themselves down 12 in the second half, but they were able to come back. What does this really say about the resilience and championship pedigree that is still on this team?
Well, we talked to Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu, and Coach Sandy Brondello after the game, and they really reflected how, you know, they don't get too tight, they don't get too high or low when they're in these moments. They just revert back to what works for them, and that was something that Coach Sandy talked to us about. Hey, look, I like the threes, right, just as any other team, but I don't like when it's stagnant, where there's not a whole lot of ball movement. So that was something that was really emphasized. Were they able to get the ball down low into Jonquel Jones? They made the right passes, and they also hit some huge threes. In the end, it was their aggressiveness, right, that allowed them to take the lead and make sure the Fever were not going to steal this game from them.
And I think what we also heard from Sandy Brondello is that this has to be a team that relies on the fact that they do play well as a team. Sandy Brondello might have dropped an expletive with us when we spoke with her, because she knows that this team is best when they're playing in rhythm, in flow. I think some of that may be perhaps the way that the officiating was going at times. The players would have liked a little more flow there, but what can the Liberty do when they have the ball in their hands in control? And I think Sandy Brondello liked that her team was able to find their way back to trusting each other.
100%.
Definitely looking forward to adding some more rings to their collection as the New York Liberty, coming off that championship season, get the win today against the Indiana Fever, really showing how capable this squad, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu and company, are looking to really go back-to-back. As you take a look at some of the notable performers on both sides there, balanced scoring all up and down the Liberty roster. But Aliyah Boston, got to give credit where credit is due. She had 15 points in the first half alone. Guys, before we say goodbye to you over on CBS Sports Network, we have Paige Becker seeking her first win in the WNBA as the Dallas Wings take on the Atlanta Dream in Atlanta. As you take a look there, we are at the half. The Dallas down by 7. Erica, Dallas 0-3 to start this season, down at half. What has contributed so much, you think, to this slow start that they're having?
I think you have a rookie that is coming in playing point guard minutes for a team that has struggled throughout the last few WNBA seasons. So it is a high bar for Paige Beckers. I think also Enrique having to get used to a new coaching staff. And they just happen to be going up against an Atlanta squad, though they do have a lot of new pieces, Chris. They've found that rhythm.
No, they definitely have. And, you know, when you look at the Atlanta Dream, you know, Brittany Griner, Breanna Jones, they have fit in seamlessly with this Dream team. You know, Coach Carl Smesko, the new head coach for them, he has really employed them to be a three-point shooting team, but they know when to get it down into their bigs. But for Paige Beckers, going back to Dallas, I think what's really key is everybody just getting adjusted to each other's strengths and weaknesses. Enrique, she no longer has to do it by herself, right? Paige Beckers, she does so many things well, whether it's facilitating, getting to her shot in an easy motion, or defending as well. So now it's all about letting the game come to themselves and not getting rattled when things go wrong. So I think the Dallas Wings will be fine. But for people that were expecting maybe, you know, a postseason run, a deep run, probably going to put a stamp on that, probably put a mark on that, because there are just so many new pieces with this Dallas Wings team, and you have a first-year head coach in Chris Koklanis. So, again, the brighter days are coming for the Dallas Wings. There are going to be some kinks that they have to work out, but I'm not worried about them, Jordan.
But what I'm hearing from him, Erica, is that Chris Williamson is just saying, pump the brakes here, be patient. We will wait and see how things play out. Guys, always great to see you. What a fun one from Indy as the New York Liberty improve to 3-0 on the season. But right now, you can go ahead and check in with Paige Beckers and company. That game going on over on CBS Sports Network as we are now at the half. The Dallas Wings down 7 against the Atlanta Dream.